Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And it's time to take a look at the third and final summonable character for the Divine General meta, the Avatar of the Underworld, Dark Diablo, the third EX Unbound Dark character alongside Milim and Kyokyo. He uses a Dark Lance, so if you have Fountain Wisdom Albus, you can take it off her. He's on Divine General, Otherworld Legend, Primal Demon, Tempest Elite, and Commander teams, all of which have actual teams, so you could put him on them. I don't know how Otherworld Legend would work, but you can put him on there technically. He is a support alt, so he's doing an AoE Dark Magic attack for 150%. Terrible damage. He's not meant to do damage, though. He's supposed to help other people. He gives Divine General characters a permanent 25% weakness strike, or 50% if it's an EX alt. This number would be higher if he had more dupes and he had more of his Unbound board done, but I don't, so not a big deal. It's a permanent buff to Divine Generals, though. His first skill, guaranteed synergy and 100% synergy power for literally everyone in the game. There's no element restriction, there's no force restriction, and you're not even limited to it only being the frontline units. He hits everybody. Just like Raphael and his Dark and Space buff hits everybody on the field. He does too. But he now has no restriction whatsoever. The only thing restricting you is your points. So this is a fantastic skill when you can actually use synergy. His second skill is the gimmick that pretty much the entire Divine General team is built around, and that is using skills a butt ton of times in the same turn to get a lot of stacks. So he is the one that does that. Normally, this unlimited number of times activation skill is locked to protectors like Masayuki or Primal Demon Violet, but now Diablo has it, alongside a 50% green gauge buff, which is the same thing that the free-to-play Dark Isis has, and he's got it for 0 points instead of 15. So he's going to be good on green teams that want to use a bunch of skills, maybe, and where you can synergy. He's got the Unbound status, so he gets extra damage turn 6, 7, and 8. Sure, whatever. He's not really meant to do damage. His Valor trait nerfs alt gauge if the enemy is going to alt you, which can be annoying. And then his actual trait is extra attack after sending 6 green orbs. This is useless. He's not meant to do damage. Don't worry about it. But let's jump in. Alright, starting out, the Divine General team making small substitutions here and there. Instead of bringing Violet, we're going to bring the Masked Hero. Since we are able to crit, why don't we give Raphael some crit alongside some massive synergy power buffs? So this should be pretty efficient with the multi-use skills and the big-time synergy buff. This should do a lot of damage. Alright, so turn 1, because the green buff costs literally nothing, we're going to use it, and we're going to use one of the orb changes for Gazel. So this will give us 5 greens plus the 50% green buff, and that costs 15 points total. Excellent. Well, let's bring in Raphael, let's bring in Shizu for the Masked Hero. This way we'll get Protection Gauge turn 2, we can get 1 stack of the synergy and alt damage power. Alt damage, and then we'll just send this 5, and then we've got a protection, we've got points coming back in, we're looking good, and we'll see what turn 2 gives. If it's not a good hand, we'll just make a cut until I do get a good turn 2. And we're gonna cut, so I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Didn't take long. So, we have 3 orbs here. Not ideal, because we only have 1 orb changer. And if this was a traditional team, we'd be SOL. But we have access to Diablo. So let's use 1 Gazel right here, change one of these orbs. Okay, well, that's 1. We have 59 points left over, and we can't use them again. But let's reset with Almesia quickly, and this will drop Gazel's cost back down to 15, and it'll drop Raphael and Diablo back down to 0, so we can use this. And then by using Diablo's skill now, we can take advantage of Gazel's orb change again, even though it's the same term, you've already used it once. So let's orb change for 15, and then let's do it again for 35, and that allows us to, even though he is a single orb changer, he changed 3 orbs at very minimal cost. And that is why Diablo is such a necessary thing for this team, because we're going to need a lot of his orb changes, not only to just get greens, but to get extra skill points on green so we can continue to hit our higher and higher skill point cap, and also necessary so Raphael can get more and more stacking synergy power and ult damage. And that is why Diablo is probably the most necessary unit for this team in order to make it work and function properly. So here we have another 3 not green orbs. Okay, well that's not great. Let's reset with Almesia again, and we'll use Gazel 3 more times. And then we need to save 25 points to alt swap away, but we can definitely do that. So free and 15 points. Boom, 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 and an orb change. Cool. Let's do it again, and then let's do it again. And then we might actually use the rewind, depending on how many points we got. Yeah. Maybe we'll use that next time. Yeah, let's use that next time. We'll take Gazel out. We'll bring Shizu in because it's turn 4 coming up. We'll use the alt swap, and now we have 70 points left over, and we can use a few more stacks of Raphael's buff. So we're continually getting more and more powerful for the nuke, while getting more and more skill points, while making sure that we have guaranteed hands of greens, even off of a single orb changer. And that's what's most impactful, is that Gazel has the skill point and the orb change wrapped up into one, whereas Protector of Peace Geld didn't have that luxury. Alright, here, not such a great hand, but we've proven that we can use Gazel 3 times. There's not really a big freaking deal about that. So let's do it again. We'll take you out, and we will... yeah, we'll reset with Almesia again. Boom. Excellent. Thank you. Alright, cool. And then free buff, orb change. That hits one of them. We need to use it 2 more times. And then probably swap out Diablo for the masked hero. And we can get some extra buffs in here when the rewind kicks in. We'll get a lot of protection gauge. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we don't need Diablo to do this multiple times. We can only use it once, you can see. We've already activated it, quote unquote. We don't need to use the multi-skill multiple times because it's already being activated. And the 50% buff is for 1 turn, so no matter what, it's going to be up. So he is, while he's enabling the multi-use abilities, he himself doesn't actually need to use anything more than once, which I think is cool. It's like a fire and forget kind of thing. So now let's bring the hero in. Let's use her rewind ability. Let's get a free extra couple points off of this. And a double Almesia, probably, because we're going to get extra protection gauge. And yeah, look at that. We're back up to max points. We probably have to orb change again. Hopefully we don't get any hero orbs. That could be kind of a downfall here. We're not going to have any ults come in, but depending on what happens here, we could be okay. Well... Hero's not on Divine General. That's kind of unfortunate. Alright, so there are a few flaws with this. Probably should have used the hero and then swapped, like, Diablo in or something. Not a big deal. It's a free turn, so I mean, we're gonna do it anyways. We can get 4 orbs out of here. Well, 4, 5, 4. So let's do it again. 1. And this is all extra skill points as well, so 2 and 3. And then we can use a few stacks of not hero, but Raphael's buff. And this is, again, just free. And you know what? We can do it again and again and again, because we have another stack of Almesia, but I kind of want to hold on to that for next turn, so we can reset and properly orb change. So let's just send these greens, get 156 points back. Alright, that's cool. The hero did her job, kind of. It could have been a lot better. Oh well. Yeah, okay. This works out pretty well. Let's do... He doesn't have an EX ult quite yet. Okay. Let's do... Let's do this. Let's do the alt swap again. Yeah. Boom. We haven't reset Diablo. Not a big deal. He only costs 20 points because we only ever use him once. So let's alt swap away. Cool. There's the full hand. We'll bring Diablo in for Shizu, and we can actually ult with him this turn and get 25% extra weakness strike to Raphael. So this will still work out. It's not a full hand of greens, but it is extra power for Raphael because of his support ult. And so that's actually a good thing that we were able to use that here. So we've got a full hand of greens, plus the ult. We're at 450% skill points. Let's use a few more stacks of the synergy power and everything. Get a few more skill points off of this. A few more stacks. A little bit extra power. We're looking pretty good. Let's make Raphael a bit stronger now with this 25% weakness strike. And we could probably do it again next turn. Yeah, because we've got another ult for him, which means we can get Raphael up to 50% permanent buff. And I think we're looking good. Milim should probably heal here, or next turn if she doesn't die. Yeah, so there's another ult. Do we need to use it? Not really, no. Now we're in unbound status. We only need to use Gazel once, actually. So that's actually kind of lucky. Let's do that. Boom, reset again. Orb change. Unlock again. More free stacks. If Shizu comes in for Diablo, then we're good. Or we could bring him in for Gazel. Let's bring him in for Gazel, actually. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think we need any orbs, and we got a guaranteed green. Yes, that works out quite nicely. And this is turn 6. This is taking a very long time to do this one segment. I think we're only going to have 2 different segments of this video, primarily because it's important to show how Diablo is helping this team operate and why it is so important for him to be on this team. Like, if you're trying to run Divine General and you have Raphael and Omizia and you don't have Diablo, you're going to be at a huge, huge disadvantage compared to people that are running both. And it's just by virtue of not having the ability to use the same skill 4 times in the same run. So you're getting 10% ult damage and synergy power. Meanwhile, I'm getting 40% every turn. Alright, there's the heal. That's good. Okay. What are we looking like here? Let's use Diablo again. Another Fire and Forget. He doesn't need to be up front. And then we'll bring Gazel in. Shizu has 2 orbs, though. What do I want to do here? We could probably send the Gazel out. It wouldn't really matter all that much. But let's... Yeah. Alt swap. Trying to make a hard decision here. Let's get Shizu out of here. Alright, we can use 2 orb changes with Gazel. Alright. This is taking such a long time to do. It is a lot of resetting, this fight takes a long time if you're trying to do everything properly because you just have to use everything so many times. Alright. And we can't take him away. So how many points are we're gonna cap out? Yeah, we're gonna cap out. So let's continue to use more and more of this. We should be at like a really high number for skill point gain. Yeah, 570. So I don't think we need to use Gazel again. Can we cap out off of 5 orbs and an ult? Still, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can. Okay, that's the most important thing right there. So now we're ready to go. That did a lot of damage. Why? Well, because everyone's getting 15% attack from Omizia, regardless of where they are, and because everyone's getting ult damage from from Raphael, no matter where they are. All right, that hurt. Not really. Milim is going to die a horrible death right here. Okay, so we'll use the debuff with Gazel. We don't care about his orb change anymore. This is the nuke turn. Let's bring in Shizu to give everybody the weakness strike and ult resistance down. Unfortunately, I can't ult with Diablo again because he would murder. We'll show him ulting in a different fight, but here we want Raphael to do as much damage as possible. So let's now bring you in, the hero, and every time you use 100 points, we get extra 10% ult resistance down. So we need to use a few more things here. Let's do the unlock ability, so we could use Raphael's extra damage again, and again and again. And there's the buff, there's that buff, there's the free buff. So we need to save 55 points to use the hero. But now the hero, because she's skill fused, will be, I believe, capped out on her skill. Up to 60%. So that's one. And that's the only stack we're going to be able to use, because now we have to use the hero's crit buff. Alright. This is the first time using the masked hero on this team. We are up to 25 stacks of alt damage and 25 stacks of synergy power from Raphael's own skill. We have 145% attack here. We're in true attribute state, so we get extra damage. We've got 250% synergy power, plus another 100 down here from Diablo's own buff. So they do stack together. Dark attack, space attack 120, 100% weakness strike. This is from a trait. And then we've got so much extra power coming over here on the debuffs. So let's see exactly how much damage Raphael's gonna do here. Probably a lot. Probably the most I've seen thus far in these showcases, because we were running a pretty optimized team. We had one not great hand where we had those 2 hero orbs that were not able to be orb swapped or orb changed, but still we hit 77 million damage. That's pretty good. It could be higher though. Strangely enough, it could actually be higher than that. 77 million damage. What a stupid number. And you know what? Diablo was a direct contributor to that. 1, because his big time support buff, and 2, he enables us to get 25 stacks of Raphael's skill. If Diablo was not here, we'd have 8 stacks. Maybe 8 stacks. But with Diablo, we jumped up quite a bit. Alright, for the second half of the video, I guess, since the first half took so friggin' long, I wanted to find a team where having a dark AoE alt would actually make a difference. It doesn't really make a difference here, but we are in the Chamber of Memories with the Summer Memories team, because he does actually fit on it, because he's in one of the teams that could come here. I think it's Commander. But we've got Trainee, Dark Millum, who is a dark AoE character, Diablo, who, again, doesn't care who you are, you're going to get synergy, and then we've got stupid Summer Lumi, Summer Shizu, and Summer Hinata. So with this team, we're aiming for having an alt with Diablo, which none of these characters are on the Divine General, so his alt effect is wasted, but I do want to get his alt animation in here, so I figured we would have him benefit a little bit. But he's mainly here to give that massive 100% synergy power buff to Millum, who's already going to have attack, and dark attack, and weakness strike, and guaranteed crits, and somewhere around the 80 to 100% alt damage from Lumi, plus the 10% dark resistance down, plus the defense down that Trainee's doing. So in theory, this should work pretty well. In theory. So turn 1, we don't have an orb changer for this, so we're just going to have to deal with it. We're going to send 4 blues. We're going to try and manipulate it so that we can steal 6 orbs and give it to Diablo, and then we could try and somehow rush a Millum ult at the same time in the following turns. This stage is annoying because on turn 4 at the end of it, they do seal our frontline attack skills, which Diablo is an attack skill, Hinata is an attack skill for her guaranteed crits, Millum and Shizu's attack skills will be sealed. But the thing about everyone but Diablo is that everyone lasts for 2 turns, so we could use them early. So here we got a good hand. We brought Hinata in, we're gonna steal. We're going to bring Diablo in, and because the greens are nerfed, we're going to try and offset that a little bit by using his multi-use skill, which, no, we don't have to use any other skills here, but it's the 50% alt or gauge increase to greens, which will help them give us a little bit extra gauge, which is important. I mean, anything helps, and it's literally free, so it's like, why wouldn't I use it? So there's his alt. He's ready to go. He's no longer going to do anything but sit in the back and wait for the nuke turn. Now we have to make sure that we can get a Millum EX alt in the next 2 turns, essentially, which thankfully we can. So let's alt swap away Diablo, boom, and we have 3 Shizu orbs. So we can bring Hinata back in for Shizu, and then steal into 6. And then we have 3 blues and 3 oranges for Milim, which will really help us get her alt gauge going. And we can leave Diablo up front for now, because he doesn't have an orb to begin with. We have to send him away next turn, so we can use his synergy power buff. But Trainee will give us 40 skill points, we're going to hold on to it, and it'll ensure that the incoming orbs for the next turn are all blues. Because that's Trainee's whole gimmick, is the future hand of orbs are all blues. She lowers the enemy defense by 50%, which we know, based on science, that defense down is the worst debuff in the world in this game. It does pretty much nothing. But we get 40 skill points, and we guarantee the next hand is all blues. So looking at this, yeah, we have 2 alts and 4 blues. So now we can be strategic about this. We need to use all of the other attack buffs now, though. So Diablo has to go away. But we need to first use Trainee to ensure that that incoming Lumi orb that's orange will actually be blue, because it affects any future orb, which includes in the same hand. So we have to use Milim's attack buff first to make sure we don't waste some points, because Trainee gives us 40. We're at 113, so we would lose a few points there. Not a lot, but hey, everything helps, especially when you're really strapped for points on this turn. So there's that. Now we guarantee that the incoming orb is blue. Diablo can safely come out of here. We can alt swap again, so that gives Milim 3 orbs, which will give us her EX alt. And then we can bring Hinata in for Lumi, and we can use the weakness strike buff and the guaranteed crits, and still have points left over, and get a double Trainee next turn, which gives us access to 80 points for free, on top of what we're going to make back in this hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. We're getting 72 points, plus 23, plus 80 with double Trainee, and now we have enough to use everything that we need to do, while the units who are sealed don't really have an impact, because we've already used their buffs. They last multiple turns, which is the whole reason why this thing exists. So now, Milim has 25% dark attack, 25% normal attack, 55% weakness strike, guaranteed crits, and now we're going to give her 100% synergy power with Diablo, who's also going to get it, because he's buffing himself. He doesn't have any of the other buffs, but he will also get this alt buff from Lumi, who is going to be sitting... okay, we got to use his skill first. And then once we use 2 Trainees, Lumi is not skill fused, so she doesn't just get 100% dark and fire alt damage. You got to stack up for it. So by using 2 Trainees here, we're adding to that, so now we should be capped out with her. Okay, we're 1 shy. So we're 90% alt. Fine, whatever. We've got everything active. So Diablo will get 90% alt damage, 100% synergy power. His alt has a terrible multiplier. Remember, it's 150%. So we gotta make sure his alt is on. So even though he's got decent buffs, he's not gonna do a lot. So let's watch. His animation does look really good. I think all of their animations for this banner went pretty hard. I do like the aesthetic of the designs, I do like the animations itself, and I overall like the kits. The team is limited to itself, yeah, but you can say that about any team, really. Hades' explosion does... 49,000 damage. Alright, Milim, please make up for that. For the love of God, please make up for that. You have so much more going on for you. 1.1. Alright, that's a lot better. There we go. So Diablo, while he didn't do a lot right there, he did help Milim do a lot more damage. So congratulations, Diablo. You are winning at support. Okay, and I'm going to call that. I mean, there's not a lot of other places to use him. I mean, I could. I wish some of the beatdown battles were back. Game, devs, beatdown battles, old ones. You ran 8 of them in like 2 months, and now we have nothing going on? Don't understand this. But, Diablo. I think he's pretty good. Even if you don't really get a lot of use out of his second skill, a free green buff is a lot better than a 15-point green buff that Isis has. And some teams, more teams than what I showed you today, will be able to take advantage of this gimmick of multi-use per turn. And then this buff is just huge. Synergy did not exist before the 2nd anniversary. Visions of Coleus team introduced synergy. So for 2 years, all content does not have defense against synergy, which means that there's 2 years of content that this Diablo is going to stomp or help other teams stomp. And that is not a small amount of content, right? This game is celebrating its 3rd anniversary. So we've only had 1 year where they have kind of nerfed synergy in some events. Not all of them, but some of them. So for the majority of this game, Diablo is going to be a fantastic support option for pretty much any team. Especially now that we have a 150 skill point cap and not 100. Because if that was the case, like, he would be a little bit worse, because he would take up 90% of your skill points. Not so much anymore. So I think this Diablo, while being shit for damage, he is going to help other people do a lot of damage. But let me know what you guys think of this Diablo. Is he not as good as I'm thinking? Do you think I'm overselling or overrating him? Let me know in the comments below. But that's it from me. Take it easy, guys, and I will see you all later.